Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ryan Eastman. We're here live at Game 5. Series potentially ending tonight as the Biloxi Voodoo find themselves up 3-1 at home. An opportunity ahead of them to close out this series and pull a championship for the first time in almost 29 years. Joining me in the booth, it is a full crowd tonight as I have both Christopher Whalen and Donovan Ritter joining me tonight. How are you two doing?
I'm doing great tonight. It is so fantastic to be back here in Biloxi. I'm but I have no words for how excited I am for this game.
Yes, this should be a good one, and of course, we have something riding on this, being Game 5 and what we put out there in the first game.
Yes, I'm taking home a steak dinner tonight. I am calling it.
All right. Although I recall that was a very, very specific thing that had to happen for the steak dinner. It wasn't just Biloxi and 5.
No, it was Biloxi and 5 off of a certain old Rue putting up the game-winning points from the free throw line. And little did I tell you, the steak dinner is going to be in Vegas, where it is a 99-ounce sirloin. So
Well,
if
the
I,
way that the Roos been playing, especially in the last game, that's actually a very real possibility here tonight.
yeah, you
It
know what?
legitimately is.
If he puts up 20 points, I'm calling it as a that counts as my him being the key factor in the win. But we can't count out the Spectrums. We saw them in game 2 here put up a valiant effort and just fell short. It really came down to last game. They just disappeared in the fourth quarter compared to the Voodoo. The Voodoo put up such a scoring clinic against them that it just seemed impossible to stop them.
Yeah, and really they have a lot to prove tonight. I've been rooting for the Spectrums pretty much all series. As you know, I've been pretty strongly uh, showing, um, perhaps just because you're rooting for Voodoo, and I think that's a little more fair. But I do think that they have what it takes to get a win here away. Like you said, in game two, they showed that they have the tenacity to do it. Let's see if the cards fall in the right way to allow them to do it.
I think that's the story, is that they do need all of the cards to fall the right way for it to happen.
Yeah, and I want to get your opinions on which players from the Spectrums do you think need to step up tonight. We've seen Aditya carry the team to a victory in Game 3, and he started to fade in Game 4. Tyrese has been pretty consistent in most of the series. We finally saw Jin Sung step up at home, but hasn't really been very impactful on the road. What combination do the Spectrums need, Donovan and Christopher, to win this game?
You want to go ahead or shall I start?
You go ahead and start.
Okay. Well, I really, I strongly believe that Kiara Hughes is finally going to step up and really show up to this finals series. She's a very strong player. She was a very strong player in the regular season, and she's been sleeping throughout these last four games. She's been known for getting those 3-point shots in, especially in clutch situations, and we just haven't seen that this whole series. And I would really love to see her finally like kind of reclaim that spot on the team and be that go-to person here in Biloxi.
Well, I regret letting you go first because that was basically what I was going to say.
Mention her
Um,
dunk contest.
yeah, she in fact was, as we all know, the dunk champion this year. And it's true, both shooting guards have been very, very quiet through the series. Whether that's just because they're playing so well off of each other or the defense is so effective, but I think if you want to see something change in the storyline, that's what we need to see.
And I'm going to pivot and say that it's not anyone on the spectrums that needs to step up, but it's in fact they need to shut down as a team Derek Kim, Michael River, and Sterling Bingsing. They have not had an answer for all three of those. They've maybe had moments where they've been able to shut down one. There was that game where Sterling came fairly close to fouling out in the third quarter, getting in trouble with 5 fouls pretty late there. But in the end, he has been allowed to pretty much do as he wills on offense and defense. Whereas Derek Kim struggled in game one a bit, but found consistency and has matched Aditya whenever he goes off. Kim answers back, and they just can't afford to let him go tit for tat with the Civet. Whereas River, putting up a Finals MVP performance, personally, the fact that he has been so consistent game after game, even in the loss, he put up decent numbers. So, arguably, they could get a win if they shut down one, but they need to figure out how to shut down two of those if they really want to win here on the road.
I think you're right, and I think what they really need to do is they need to focus on one, shut them down, focus on the next, shut them down, and then go to the third. As you said, these three players have definitely been pivotal throughout this whole series, and Biloxi's done a really great job of kind of shifting between, the prominent members of their starting line when Santa Ana is focusing on one. And I think Santa Ana's downfall so far has been, okay, well, they're let's shift our focus to the other person that they're giving the ball to. And I think really there hasn't been any follow through, and so Biloxi has kind of been teasing Santa Ana around the court, saying, okay, oh well, we're going to give the ball to Kim for the next 5 minutes, and then they shut him down. And by the time they're already shutting him down, they've shifted play to focus more on River, or even Ryan Malone, I mentioned earlier, could be could be that wild card that Biloxi is looking for, especially if Santa Ana is focusing so hard on Biloxi's starting line. They Biloxi does have those bench players that they can rely on. So that's a very long-winded way of saying, just pick one strategy and stick to it. Don't keep morphing back and forth. Just really I think Santa Ana needs to stick to their guns tonight.
And I'm going to say, I don't think as the Voodoo have found themselves up 3-1, they need to make any changes tonight, honestly. They have found success even on the road. And at home, I feel like they are in the best position to close the series out this game. Momentum's in their favor. I can argue a little bit that the pressure of maybe playing at home and winning in front of their home fans might start to creep in, as long as they don't get cocky. As you have mentioned multiple times, Christopher, that there's the fine line between playing confident and being too cocky and losing in the end.
Well, it's kind of like, I'm going to rely on a surfing metaphor here. You either ride the wave or you let it crash you. I think Biloxi really needs to ride the wave of their home court advantage tonight. If they're I don't see any of these players actually giving into the pressure of playing in home, but if that becomes a factor, that could be why they crash and burn tonight. But I think I'm gonna actually, I know I've been rooting for Santa Ana this whole series. I think I'm actually, you've converted me. I'm gonna agree with you that Biloxi in 5 at this point.
Ooh, another steak dinner for win.
How about you, Donovan?
I mean, that's where I was still. It's all about Santa Ana needs everything to fall right for them tonight if they want to continue in the series. It's taken everything they had even to win at home. So being here in this stadium that we know is one of the most intense to play an away game in, everything has to go right tonight for them. So I'm sticking with my Biloxi in 5.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think Biloxi in 5. Any final thoughts before we send it down to the court?
Let's play.
I'll let them play at least.
No, let's not. Remember, we're not the professionals here. And tip-off is done. We might be 48 minutes away from the end of the 2021 season. And it'll be the Voodoo who start off this game with possession, and already a foul coming out in the very first shot of the game.
Aggressive play from Santa Ana. Working out for him, though.
Well, you have to worry, though, if you're too aggressive from the start, you can rack up fouls quickly. Tyrese is a player that Santa Ana has had to rely on to get those points up in the paint, and they can't afford to have him in foul trouble. So while I appreciate, obviously they're going to show that they have no fear tonight, but they can't afford to lose their anchor in the post so early if he were to rack up a second one in this quarter. And, ooh, a shot clock violation coming out, and that is just great defense as Derek Kim kept Aditya so contained in the perimeter.
Yeah, we're already seeing Santa Ana kind of fall into those traps that they've been falling into earlier in this series, where they're, you know, a little bit of a decision paralysis going on.
Well, aggressiveness on defense again. This time it's Aditya trying to make something, you know, up for that mistake and going for a steal and not able to get it. And there we had the first bucket. It took him almost a minute, but River cleaning up the missed shot, and that has been an area that the Spectrums have just not been able to answer. It will be the Voodoo. Fast break opportunity. Sterling gets by the defense, just lays it in off the glass.
Oh.
Already up by 5 here, Santa Ana. Is this how you want to go out? You need to answer. They're going to go to the Civet. Trying to find sub opening, and he ends up giving over to the Otter, and no good there either. Oh God, this is the third team in the defense. Where is it as Sterling just lays it up and in? Okay, timeout, please, Santa Ana. It's only been 2 minutes, and something has gone clearly wrong so far tonight. I can't even commentate in terms of we may have talked up Santa Ana a little too much for this game. They are struggling early here as Aditya is going to go ahead and get his second foul. He's not happy about that. Christopher, that's a big concern, isn't it? They're already having to bring in Aquino with Aditya with 2 fouls in only 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, you know, it's one thing to come straight out of the gate like swinging, but at the same time, as you said, you really need to be careful about how quickly and how aggressively you do that, because you're gonna, you know, you're gonna foul out some of your key players.
I mean, and Aditya has been so pivotal for the Spectrums in these games. And there we go, finally a little bit of life as Tyrese gets the block and Seba. Fast break, he's going to elevate it. That might be the spark to get the Spectrums to wake up as he elevates for the dunk.
Looking at this already, you know, 17% field goals for Santa Ana versus Biloxi's 60.
Oh, and he answers with a block on the other end. Seba might get them back in the game, and thankfully we have a game to commentate now as Tyrese makes a shot.
So one of our interns has just brought me some numbers here. In totality, the Biloxi Voodoo have 21 inches over Santa Ana Spectrums in terms of height, and that might be why we're seeing them get those offensive rebounds much more aggressively, just based on mismatches.
Well, especially with River versus Seba, but not only the height difference, but the 100 pounds almost between the two. And there we go, Spectrums. The steal coming in from Jin Sung. An opportunity. But now they have the rookie leading the offense. He's going to dish it down to the post, and Jin Sung not able to make it. Eric Kim. I'm sure he's loving this matchup right now against the Ram, but the jumper is no good from the free throw line. Tyrese finds a lane to the basket and answers with a bucket. Oh, I thought this game was not even going to make it within a 4-point game, but quickly, Derek Kim gets a little breakaway from the rookie. Answers with a pull-up jumper. Doubles the score once again. And we'll talk about the amount of pressure on the rookie right now. 2 minutes into the game, down 0-8, and now being expected to run the offense.
It's definitely a do or die moment here.
And I'd say he's holding up fairly well to it, all things considered.
And Derek, they keep trying to exploit that matchup, and he's putting up shots, just not converting as many as you'd like, and it's going to be the Ram bullying his way past the bird into the post, laying it up and in. We're back within 2.
You're saying that they're putting a lot of pressure on this on these players right now, but if they can rise to that occasion, then it's entirely founded.
Well, there can be a benefit of being a rookie, and the pressure sometimes, if you're cocky enough, does not matter to you. It just rolls right off your shoulder.
Yeah, you don't know any better.
But what a situation we put in as a rookie this year, and I'm sure they'll bring in Aditya as soon as he maybe resets mentally. I mean, obviously, being aggressive, getting called for those reach-ins. He is the steal leader in the league, so he can be very dangerous with idle paws. But a little too much contact early here, maybe getting a little too desperate. So the Spectrums, though, have an opportunity to tie it up as it's going to be Lee versus Kim in the post. And Lee fading away over the bird, but no good. 1 for 3, 1 for 5 to start. Not a great showing so far from Jinsung. I talked him up a little bit, needing him to step up. He had a slow start to the series and was starting to find a rhythm, but not now. And it's going to be Seba. He got it started, and now he's tied it up at 12. And actually, it's going to be the Voodoo to call timeout first, and that might actually be the smartest timeout I've seen called this series.
Yeah, I don't blame them, especially seeing the Spectrums turn that around so fast. Now it's the Voodoo who are sweating a little bit here.
And part of it definitely comes from they maybe thought they had a better opportunity against Aquino with Kim, and it's not working out how they'd like, so the coach wants to make an adjustment. And that's actually the adjustment. They want to bring him alone, but he's blocked from behind by Seba again. Seba showing up here. And the rookie gained the bucket to take a lead. I did not think we would see a Santa Ana lead this quarter. Oh, Donovan, I think we had talked up Aquino in game 1. It's very nice to see him stepping it up here.
It is. He, like I have said before, I think he is one of the less talked about rookies from this year's season, but he really is a solid player.
Hey, he slipped a little bit in the draft, just falling into Santa Ana's lap, and honestly, I wasn't expecting them to take a guard. And Seba, once again, taking flight to dunk it down, and perfect from the floor tonight. 6 points and 2 blocks already. Not the player I was expecting to show up for the Spectrums, but I will not cry foul about having the Toucan step it up here.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why he's on the starting line here. We haven't seen a lot from him either this series, but I think he knows he's got one last chance to prove that, he can. He's here to fight.
And getting pumped as he dunked it down once again. And Voodoo, quick second timeout. I mean, they have gone on a cold streak themselves to match what the Spectrums had to deal with. And now the coach, once again, they brought him alone to make a hopeful change of plan. But it looks like they want to bring a few more starters in, and the Spectrums are going to rest Seba. I'm half and half on that. He is on fire right now, so keep him out there, in my opinion. But honestly,
don't let him get cold.
Yeah, but at the same time, you want to rest him if he is going to be feeling it tonight. It's going to be a Kino against River, no good. I mean, that's the balance you have to make, I guess, Christopher. Do you run them until they go, bleed them dry and hope that you build a lead off of them, or do you keep them feeling good? Don't let them get potentially thrown off their game. Let them just rest up and hope they come back on the floor as hot as they were when they left.
Well, I think you got to let that adrenaline run a little bit. If they're feeling that high, if they're feeling good, let them score a couple more baskets. You're still putting points on the board. You're still running the score up, and then when that adrenaline starts to rub off a little bit, that's when you pull him out. You put some more fresh players in, and then you wait until he's ready to go back out.
Yeah, I have to wonder if maybe the coach knows a little bit more in terms of how much stamina Seba actually has, because he was all over the court there, up and down on both ends. And I have to imagine the Toucan maybe was starting to feel a little gassed there. The mind might will it, but the body gives up well before the mind.
That's very fair.
It is just the first quarter.
It's very true.
Oh, an uncharacteristic mistake from the Vru. His paw just slipped on the line as he was facing two defenders. And the Spectrums are not giving the veteran any breathing room tonight. They can't afford to let him be a spark coming off the bench.
You have to wonder at this point if the Voodoo are asking Malone if he has a younger brother that can...
They're asking him to roll back the years, but it's going to be Sterling to finally help pull the lead back within. You talked about field goal percentage earlier, and it's flipped. Spectrum is above 45%. The Voodoo now, what once was above 60 has dropped to 37. Quick defensive adjustments by the Spectrums have brought them back in, and it's going to be London on the other end. No good. Ekholm pulling down the board, and they're going to give it to Malone on the fast break. Double teamed. He wants to challenge, though. Gold. Weasel puts up valiant defense, and it goes their way. I know you mentioned Gold for the Spectrums being your player to watch in prior games. Do you think he'll be a factor here tonight?
Well, I think someone needs to show up for Santa Ana. Like, seriously, if Addie's not going to do it, if Hughes isn't going to do it, Seba's doing his best. Why not JC, right?
They need to keep the spark on the court. They can't afford to just check out just because they're hot paws on the bench. And that has been kind of the question for the Spectrums. I mean, Aquino has come in and provided some life. Gold has had his moments, just not as consistent as you'd like to see. So that's kind of been, so far, the downside for the Spectrums is they've had to rely on keeping Tyrese on the court with the second string to give them a little bit more offensive firepower. Lagerstrom.
You have to imagine that Otter is getting tired.
Yeah, he has had to put in long minutes. He's going to play the full first quarter here tonight. He's done that before in this series, and we've seen him have to sit out a larger portion of the fourth quarter because of it. Biloxi, no good. And with that, I think the Spectrums will get the final shot. But I see Gold. Oh, I thought he was going to break to the basket, but he shows some restraint, setting up for the final play instead.
I think there was just that moment where he was like, should we? And then he was like, nah.
I mean, if he had a better lane, maybe. If he had an open shot in London, not able to convert it. Tyrese, a little too late on the attempted dunk for it to even have counted had he got the ball. And That block right there by Seba was huge, blocking Malone from behind. I think that's the play that led them to take the lead. And honestly, after the first 2 minutes of this game, I did not think we'd be going into the second quarter saying Santa Ana's up by 4.
No, certainly not.
I believe Donovan at one point, it was what? They scored 8 points in the first 2 minutes and then only 9 over the last 10.
Yeah. Props to Santa Ana's defense.
Definitely. I mean, obviously their offense picked up. That was also what was needed for them. And now, though, it's gotten a bit cold. I mean, this is the first time. See, 3 minutes. Both teams have just gone ice cold. Sure, the Spectrums or the Voodoo have put up points, but it's been sparse as they haven't been able to catch up in 3.5 minutes. They're going to let Malone play some isolation, dishing out to Carter, top of the key. Indecisiveness there. Voodoo just not able to get a play going.
I'm surprised, most of the shot clock violations we've seen thus far have been on Santa Ana's side. To see kind of the Voodoo struggling with that, kind of court awareness as to where to put the ball is a little shocking.
Tyrese is not going to sit a minute, it seems like. He is still in this game. Oh, and so close to hitting the jumper off the inbound. But Aditya is back on the court, and instantly third foul already.
Wow.
He has been out there for less than 3 minutes. I am absolutely flabbergasted. I was talking about making Sterling have to battle foul trouble, but it's Aditya of all players having the fight tonight.
Do we think that the Civet is subconsciously sabotaging himself?
I think he's put a lot of pressure on himself right now to carry this team, and it's having a negative effect, and they're not going to sub him out. They're going to let him roll with 3. You have to imagine he's going to tone it down a little bit with the reach-in attempts here. Tyrese, the jumper is good, and he's just been such a steady rock for the Spectrums this series.
I'm not entirely surprised they're keeping him on the court, though. They might regret it come the second half.
And Malone just wide open in the post. Both teams, despite Santa Ana having extra possessions, showing right there that both teams are struggling tonight to find consistency. It's just been scoring drought after scoring drought for both of them. London has a good matchup. No good, but it's going to be Lagerstrom not able to get the board. Tyrese, the third chance opportunity, and he will finally convert it.
So, is Biloxi wearing Santa Ana jerseys and Santa Ana wearing Biloxi jerseys? I'm not really sure what's going on here.
I think we're seeing some fatigue finally slip in. We saw the Voodoo were running off adrenaline apparently to start this game and absolutely have crashed right now. And thank you, Malone, for the steal, stopping the drive. That was key. Stripping it from the Otter on the pass attempt. And Tyrese smashing the ball off the backboard for the block. Getting some revenge against the Kangaroo. Be Shelley to lay it up in on the other end, and Tyrese, that was just filthy. They are picking on an old man tonight. That's 2 blocks against Malone. And another block! Defense is stepping it up here for the Spectrums tonight. No good on the other end, though, but Tyrese is feeling it from the post.
I think it's a situation of no quarter given for on Santa Ana's side, especially towards the Rue.
Well, I was going to say they have to start extending it to the perimeter, right, if they are having such trouble in the post with this Otter. But there we go, the double team. Lee Evans helps Carter get the strip, but it's going to be Malone on the fast break. Finally, if he's one-on-one, he can do it himself. No timeouts yet from the Spectrums. They've let their team just run it, and another strip there by Carter. Oh, fast break opportunity. 2-1-0 is Lee Evans. The Great Dane will elevate, stretch it out for the slam. Now's the time to call timeout if I'm the Spectrums, though. Then again, they never listen to me, do they?
They do not.
Well, I was surprised with the Voodoo. I feel like the Voodoo were taking smart timeouts earlier. The two they called, they were able to stem the momentum from swinging any further in the Spectrum's favor. And there we go, London. He's had a struggle all series, but off the screen, little spin move, able to get a nice jumper to fall. Lone, wide open lane in the basket, but there goes the Otter. He had to stop. He could not challenge the Otter one-on-one there. I swear, if he had gotten blocked a third time, I think I would have had to have called the police on the Otter for elder abuse. And Reed Carter, bucket. 1 point game, very close game despite how turbulent both offenses have been.
Like you said, I think we are starting to see the effects of the series. People are just exhausted.
Yeah, high pace of play. It's going to be Lee Evans and Adia with 3 fouls. Just can't do anything against the Great Dane.
And Biloxi takes their first lead in a while.
Yeah, I mean, considering they put up 13 points in the first 6 minutes of this quarter, that's almost matching their first quarter score. But Adia, his first points, and he will get it right back for them.
Very long 2 for him.
Yeah, and we just haven't seen him on offense that much tonight due to that foul situation. He was already out of the game after 2 minutes. And, I mean, this has only been 6 minutes. Not even full 6 minutes he's been on the court since the second quarter. And, ooh, the turnaround jumper from Cantor. And there we go, Spectrums. Yeah, you have to call timeout after that. The fans, you can't let them get back in this game. Oh, I am shocked at both teams. Just as soon as you feel like one team is starting to lose a little bit of momentum, one of their players somehow steps up and gets them back in it.
Absolutely. You know, I'm pretty certain they've got coffee in the Gatorade.
I'm pretty sure they're giving some IVs. I mean, these players just suddenly coming alive. And back on the court is Seba. He got this back in this game earlier, and it's going to actually be the Ram, fouled by Vilka. The Wolf has been quiet tonight.
Going to see a complete line change for the Voodoo here.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they brought Aquino back on the floor with the main starting lineup right now. They want to play with the rookie feeling it tonight, and he makes both free throws. Now it looks like they're matching him up against Vilka. He's been quiet. And actually, Seba, he gets this steal almost completed by the Toucan, but they battled for the ball in the post. And Vilka got open and hits the jumper. Tough one there. He was not set when he took that shot, but did not matter for the Wolf. Lagerstrom. Not even gonna attempt to back down against River. The Deer, a little too much for him, and the defense from the Deer coming in strong.
There's something to be said about, you know, intimidation factor. Stare down those fangs.
Yeah. Well, then on offense, immediately matched up against the Ram, and he's pump faking, trying to get the Ram to jump, but he does not bite, and he puts up enough pressure, and it's going to be, oh no, that's on the line. They're going to say the Bears paused, crossed it. That was a great transitional 3 attempt, and if only he had stopped a second early. And it's going to be Wes Penrod taking the lead back once again, a back and forth game, and he'll go to the line for an and one opportunity. mixed rotation here, mix of starters and bench on the floor for both teams. Aditya will get a chance to rest, even though he should be really fresh overall, despite due to not playing much in the first quarter.
I really think they're concerned about him fouling out so early.
Yeah, I mean, if he were to get a fourth one before the half even ended, that would just be that'd be a tough decision. What would you do in that situation? Would you keep him out there or pull him?
I mean, minutes are minutes, but you want to. I think what's happening here is that they're concerned about him fouling out, so they're going to hold on to him for those later minutes, especially if Aquino starts getting tired. You're going to have your kind of your star point guard ready to go. It almost makes the decision a lot easier in a way.
Well, and that's the gamble, I think, is you hold on to the player, but they're not on the floor for those minutes, and maybe they don't foul out if they had been out there, and you sacrifice, your star player for your rookie point guard who, may not be as efficient at running this offense. It's definitely a challenge. I mean, it'd be absolutely heartbreaking if you were to foul out. And there we go, Aquino drawing more contact. Will head to the line for two after getting knocked to the ground by the Wolf.
I swear, those horns draw more fouls.
Good for one, and they're going to bring Sterling back on the floor. Now this, I mean, I'm going to... What do we do, Donovan, if it comes down to the Ram having to hit free throws to win the game for Santa Ana?
I don't know. That wasn't in the deal.
What, no ice cream? I got to get a consolation prize if I'm that accurate with who hits the final free throw.
I'll buy you some ice cream after this.
Yay. Biloxi answers back after Aquino missed his second free throw. No.
Maybe the nerve's starting to get to him.
I mean, this is a tough place. Oh, Sterling. That was a key block there, and Vilka in transition against Chiara. He's been quiet tonight. Chiara got it going, at least with the dunk a little while ago. Jin Sung, spin move into the post. It's Sterling. He is instantly being a factor after coming in off the bench. It's going to be Seba. He has not had an opportunity to really shoot since coming back on the floor, but he gets that one to convert.
It's pretty obvious Sterling is not going to let anything get past him if he can help it.
Well, he's having to watch the Spectrums put up a block clinic, so he's surely itching himself to get it going at Jin Sung. Oh, I thought he was going to slam it down, but he lets it just roll off his finger paw. The fingers into the basket. Santa Ana up by 3. The three-point game has been quiet for both teams despite some long twos. And there we go, Lowenthal, not able to convert. And the battle for the rebound goes the way of the Spectrums. Chiara, both teams, they hear me go saying three-point game, and neither of them able to convert.
It's like they remember there's a three-point game, and then they just can't.
They just can't convert it tonight.
Yeah.
Or any night this series, really.
Very true.
They've had some moments. It's been mostly the Voodoo who've been able to step it up from beyond the arc, but you have to wonder in those big deficits, if these three-point games can't get going, how are these teams going to really come back? The bigger the lead, the more daunting if the three-point game is just not working for either of them. Then again, with how both teams have gone absolutely cold tonight at different times, leads don't mean anything, it seems.
I mean, what is basketball anyways, right?
What are points?
Points are what River likes to collect as he just pulls up as the shot clock was against him, extending his range to the free throw line there. I think the Spectrums will get the final shot of the game, so they should end this first half with a lead. It has dwindled a little bit compared to how they ended the first quarter. And,
Not by much.
well, not by much, especially after Aquino hitting that. And Kim will throw a full court heave, but off the back iron.
Oh, that almost went in.
Yeah.
It was on target, just a little strong. The Bird showing some strength with that heave, and we end the first half with only a 3-point game, 48-45. The Voodoo have not given up here. Despite the tenacious defense coming out from the Spectrums, it has been the Spectrums' offense at times that have been their own worst enemy, giving up turnovers and just not converting in transition.
You know, you say that 3-point lead doesn't mean much, but I would bet an ice cream cone that the Spectrums would have killed anything to have that 3-point lead the last time they were here.
Oh, certainly. I mean, it's been for both teams. They've gone to the halves fairly close each time, and momentum seems to swing violently both ways. So we've seen both teams build up 7, 8, 9-point leads, and yet it's the other team that ends up winning in the end by that margin. The defense coming out from the Spectrums, this has not been something we've seen from them. It's usually been this Voodoo that have been the stars on defense. It's a different look we're seeing tonight.
Well, that's how I was asking if they switch uniforms. You know, their defensive strategy is looking a lot more like Biloxi's has in this series thus far.
Are you saying Aditya has been taking notes from Sterling?
I mean, you know, whatever works, right?
Whatever works, aka 3 fouls in like 5 minutes of play.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, Donovan, your thoughts on what the Voodoo need to do? I mean, obviously they're down by 3. That's not a huge margin, but what do you think they need to change in this second half?
They need to figure out their post game again. I mean, that has been their go-to the entire series, and Santa Ana's defense is just much more there tonight than it's been any time up till now. They need to start stretching it. Get out those perimeter shots. They have the capability for them.
Yeah, and if they start hitting from beyond the arc, you'll see the post open, and I know they've been trying, and that's actually looking at right now as we look at the stat. Aquino, 13 points, the rookie, showing up when needed as he's had to fill in for Aditya in foul trouble. And that, I think, has been kind of the key factor for the Spectrums, despite being down a starter, one of their key players for so much of the game. They've had a rookie show up and actually have a huge impact in this game so far.
Yeah, I mean, you know, talking about a lucky pick for the Spectrums, Aquino's really stepped up this whole series, and you know, even throughout the whole season. I'm actually really excited to see where his career is going to go this coming next year after the postseason.
I mean,
After his showing here.
yeah, the Spectrums as a whole, I mean, both teams have some key players going to the free agency pool this year. No, Voodoo losing track. Offensive, the Spectrum's losing track.
Yeah.
Offensive 3-second violation. I was going to say, like, don't tell me someone's already lost their focus in this game, and it's going to be Lowenthal hitting the 3. There we go. They did listen at the half. They're going to stretch the defense now. See if Spectrums can answer with one of their own, or if they're going to continue this game of driving the paint. Lowenthal will get called for the foul, and Ginsling will head to the line for 2.
Well, we've seen so many times in this series, like after the halftime break, it's almost like two different teams coming out, and I wonder what these coaches might have said to sort of change things up on the court here for the second half.
I mean, we see this wonderful matchup as River battles against Addy in the post, and it's been Sterling that's been bullying the Civet down low, but they've gone to the Deer now to challenge him, especially with him having so many fouls. He's pretty much an easy target. And there we go, Jinsung. He's had some trouble with the fadeaway, but able to convert there. Kim. Calling for
I have a
this.
sinking. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I have a sinking suspicion we're going to see this lead kind of bounce back and forth for a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, bounce back and forth until Regulus wakes up the three-point game for the Voodoo. That's the second time he's hit from that corner.
It's almost the exact same play.
It is. And, I mean, if they're going to leave him that wide open, why not go back to it? Make Jinsung defend him as tight as possible. But if they want to get the three-point game going, and they do want to stretch as Kim tries it himself, but there we go, Sterling, offensive rebound. And that is where the advantage of pulling it out to the perimeter is. It leaves the post more open for Sterling and River to work their magic and get those second chance buckets.
They're both so dominant in that area that it's a little surprising they didn't go that way sooner.
Well, I mean, they started 0-8. They had an 8-0 run.
Ooh.
They thought they had what they needed to get the game going. And honestly, it just took them a little while to make the adjustment here. And there we go, Lowenthal catching on fire, the Griffin. That's his 8th point this quarter with the opportunity to put up a 9th.
Less than 3 minutes.
Oh, I jinxed him, though, as he misses the free throw opportunity. And it's starting to find some trouble here. And the starters are on the floor for both teams, and Sterling, what an opposing presence despite the Otter having the size advantage still upon his face. And Seba, another strip. He has been so key in this game. And look, Jinsung, that would have been a great revenge against Lowenthal to hit a three from where he's been hitting it from tonight. Both teams suddenly going a bit cold after the scoring flurry to start the half. Tyrese over to Dia. Calling for the screen. Shot clock starting to become a problem. He just takes a heave. No good. Another one of those days didn't have any idea where they're going, and Kim makes a mistake as he tried to spin around.
Kim. That was on the spectrum. Or no, it was. Okay.
Yeah, no, Kim stepped across the backcourt violation. I think he saw Aditya make a move towards him, and he decided to spin out, but just had lost track where he was on the court, and his claw crept over the half-court line. And Aditya elevating for the dunk as he blows by the defense. Oh, Kim. Over to Lowenthal. He's been hot from this corner. He's calling for a screen. He wants to hit this, and he does.
He does.
That's his third from that corner. Defense, don't back away at all. You can't let the Griffins shoot from there.
He's obviously really good at it.
That might be the one spot he's hitting his shot from all night. Don't let him take the shot there. If all you have to do is guard a 1-by-1 square, just sit there.
Just wait.
I mean, to be fair, the screen was coming and he wanted to beat it, but backing off just gave him an even more open look. If you have to go around the screen, it's fine. Just don't give him that open basket opportunity like that. Dia, he wants to dunk again. He has been struggling tonight with the fouls, but he is showing it off in the acrobatics. Lowenthal He's going to give it over to Kim, who wants to get gone for 3 as well. Okay, the Voodoo have listened and made the adjustment. They have opened up this 3-point game here tonight.
4 in this quarter.
Yeah, after 0 in the first half, Kiara down low in the post will answer back, but as you can see, the lead, it is swung in the Voodoo's favor.
Well, the 4 extra points are right there on the board.
Right.
Yeah. Lowenthal just left wide open, steps inside the paint, and ooh.
Oh.
Defense started to collapse around him and just a little too much power behind it. Maybe still a little tuned in to beyond the arc range, not able to finesse it in from inside the paint. Aditya laying it up and in, using his speed advantage against Lowenthal. He has picked it up this quarter, and now
Ooh.
he's wondering where he was in the first half.
Yeah.
And yeah, he made that worried sounds. Malone had to quite elevate just to hold that ball and avoid turning it over. And ooh, another difficult pass, but Sterling, such a light touch, barely had a chance to catch and shoot and still able to make it work. I think both teams ready to make some substitutions at the next dead ball situation. And Sterling pokes his paw in and almost comes up with it, but the Otter are able to pull it back in. Dia, no good, and it's Evans cleaning up the rebound. And Malone, he wants to join the party, and he gets it to fall. Oh, wow, what is going on? Everyone wants to join the three-point party on the Voodoo side.
It seems like a good party to be at tonight.
If River hits a 3, I'm losing my mind. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. If River throws up a 3, heck, if Sterling throws up a 3, and look at that change in field goal percentage. What is the first half compared to this? They've almost put up as many points as they did in the first half. Sterling able to get a quick lay-in. And both teams have been waiting so long to sub in. They've actually made adjustments while waiting to sub in these players. And both teams absolutely catching on fire now, back and forth. I'm just waiting for the Spectrums to answer back with a 3 of their own. They haven't really. It's the post game's working for them, but they're not closing this lead.
I mean, the difference is basically the 3 points.
Well, that and the defense has just gone quiet. Malone, he wants to go again. No good, but it's Lowenthal. Double teamed. Leaves Evans open, but he gets his own miss. This is the third chance opportunity.
Let's see Malone do it one more time now.
No.
Oh, no.
Lagerstrom just swipes it, and it's going to be Addy. Oh, no, Evans. Enough pressure to make the miss. It's Lowenthal. He's got a lane to the basket. Oh, tight defense coming out from Gold there. And a block right back into Addy's hands. The pace of play has just been so high for both teams. I feel like someone needs to call a timeout just to catch their breath.
Well, this is why they make them run suicides.
Say, I might need a timeout. Can I get a commercial timeout, a TV timeout, please? Another
just on their behalf, yeah.
Oh, finally, a foul. It will be an and one opportunity for Gold, but there we will make our substitutions. Unless they've changed their minds again about who they want to bring in. Gold is good. So yes, we see both teams making some big subs, but they want to keep Kim and Addy on the floor.
Well, Addy's barely played this whole game.
Yeah.
I think he's got some minutes to spare.
Well, he generates a turnover there. He won't get the steal recorded in his stat line, but that turnover is because of him. Him and Elcom battling for the ball. Elcom bopping it out of bounds. And oh, Carter here get called for blocking. Interesting. Now Santa Ana, shot clock stays at 16. They won't reset it to 14 or anything, but they have a chance here to get a play drawn up to tie it up after letting the Voodoo build a 5-point lead. Kino against Vilka. No good. And there, the cold spells once again. I mean, thankfully, Spectrums have had just as much of a difficulty at the same time, or else it could have swung much further one way or the other.
Well, I feel like it's either, like, everyone's either 0 or 60.
And yeah, we had that burst of play, and now we're back to minutes without scoring. Not anymore, but
Well, thankfully, Carter able to finally break that cold spell. Just obviously the players don't have a clock that they can see saying, you haven't scored this long. But they know they're keeping track of the possessions and how long it's been. And breaking that psychological dry spell can have an impact. And a battle for the ball after Carroll. Vilka from behind got stripped.
No, I definitely agree. There's like that internal clock that it's been a while since you've cheered on a basket. That does start to take its toll among the exhaustion.
Well, here we have another foul. Will send Viking this time to the line for an and one. And you're right, the players on the bench, not even just the players on the court, the players on the bench are impacted by these spells where, they're sitting there waiting to come in and off the bench, sitting in front of the check-in counter, and they're just forced to sit there squatting.
Yeah.
River going to bully his way against Seba. It's Seba. He has been a different bird tonight. The spark that kept the Spectrums in it early and got them the lead. And with the final seconds, Aditya is just going to heave it up and closer than it should have been. With that, we'll head into the final quarter. The Spectrums do hold a very slight lead here. Down by one, I should say. They gave up a very slight lead.
Like I said, earlier, the Spectrums really needed someone to step up, and that person today has definitely been Sebastian.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this game started off on such an odd note, as we see Vilka finally getting a bucket here in the second half. It's just losing your starting point guard to foul trouble so early, and then having to rely on a rookie and your power forward who has been mostly quiet this series to build you back from a 8-point deficit to start the game. Like, that is you don't practice that. You don't visualize that. Shuck dunks it down, and Biloxi finding a 5-point lead here once again. And Jinsung not fading away. He challenges straight up, and he's put up 13 here now, but it's taken him 12 shots to get there. I'm interested to see if the Voodoo continue to go to the three-point play once the starters come back on the floor. Lowenthal has been so hot from beyond there. Whereas the Spectrums have yet to really, besides a couple transition shots and last-second heaves, they haven't really taken that many threes tonight.
Well, I think they realized that their three-point game is not strong for this series. And so the question is, do you risk that three-pointer knowing that the Voodoo is taking those shots, or do you go for a more guaranteed two?
Yeah, and it's definitely when you're down and you miss a three and then you see your opponent immediately make a shot. The lead that you were trying to recover or cut into, just watching it grow because you've missed a three, it can be really devastating mentally and make you hesitate to take the next one. I mean, we saw momentum there. Lowenthal hit one, then two, and then Malone feels hot enough to get involved after watching Kim make one. We saw that flurry of threes spread across multiple players, and they were feeding off of each other. Lagerstrom. Dishing back to Dia. He finds a lane to the basket, but no good.
And having that confidence is so important when you're shooting the three-pointers.
Yeah, you have to take the same shot you've always taken in practice, just in a game environment, which is so difficult. And Aquino, Seba's just going to loft in the air for the Ram, and the Ram's going to just throw it in almost. Not dunking it down, no.
Textbook plays from practice.
Especially considering he doesn't get many minutes with the starting line. That's impressive that they had that much of a sink there to hit that shot. And now the Voodoo answer back with one of their own. They want to keep this 5-point lead. I think that's the margin you talked about, Christopher, of if it's less than 5, you're going to win. But if you build a 7 or more lead, you're going to lose.
Yep. And they haven't proven me wrong thus far.
Well, they were up by 8, and then they were down by 7, so it definitely seemed like they got ahead of themselves a bit there in the beginning of the game.
Something going on there.
Voodoo will call timeout, and they have 3 remaining over 8 minutes. Maybe they wanted to make a substitution here that they didn't want to wait on the next dead ball. They watched, 4 or 5 minutes go by last time before a dead ball situation presented itself. And they can't really afford to even allow the Spectrums to consider getting back. And actually, yes, they do. The final 8 minutes will consist of the starters for both teams in this final game, potentially. Kim not able to make it work from beyond the arc. I will note Aquino is on the floor in the shooting guard position.
Why not, right?
Well, he's been hot, so, why not, like you said. Tyrese down low in the post, answers back, and there we go, a 1-point game. This is when the nerves start to creep in. But not for Kim as he hits the 3. I think that's the exact spot he hit his earlier one from.
He seems to know what's working for him.
Yeah, he has shown up tonight when needed. And Sterling, somehow, Aquino fights through the contact and gets the ball in. That is impressive considering how much of a disadvantage he's giving up in terms of that matchup against Sterling. Unreal. He answers back with an and one, cutting Sterling's 3 right out of the history. But no, Lowenthal a chance to answer back with one of his own now. And there we go. They will bring in Kiara. She has been shooting consistent tonight, just not as flashy as Aquino, but she is a little bit more rested, I think, with Aquino having to have covered for Aditya so early. And Lowenthal misses the free throw. Coming down to the wire potentially here. Tyrese just dancing his way to the post. I think Sterling needs to be a little bit more aggressive. He has fouls to give you tonight. And it's funny, Aditya is the one who hasn't really had any trouble since then.
Yeah.
It'd be Tyrese sending Cam to the line for an and one opportunity. He has no trouble there, pushing it to a 4-point game. This is the time where players' mettle is tested. 6 minutes to go. A 4-point game here. Championship on the line. And Aditya will take it to the basket himself. Up to 12 this game. Kim. Over to River. With the contact, we'll go to the line for 2. And Tyrese starting to trickle in the fouls himself. That's his 3rd. But with only 5 minutes left to go, it's not the end of the world if he was to accrue a few more. Especially if River can't hit these free throws.
Which he can't.
I say, he had that trouble at the first game. He missed 2 here at home. Missing 2 here is such a critical point. Both, I think Biloxi has had more misses from the free throw line tonight, and they could have had a bigger lead right now had they made them. No. Jinsung, the fadeaway, not working. Could have tied it up there. And Sterling, they're giving him a lane to the basket, but Seba, enough pressure. The Polecat unable to roll it. He's going to alley-oop it to Tyrese. The Otter tying us up here once again, 92 apiece. Quick pass down to Sterling. Sterling wants to answer with a bucket of his own, and he is able to. That's been the difference. Sterling has not been as involved in the rebound game as normal. He put up, I believe, a 20-20 game not too long ago, or at least a 15-15. Kiara using the screens to her advantage. You saw the post empty out as the defense was stretched to the perimeter, and she just found an open lane to the basket. You saw there Tyrese. He had to thread the line between guarding Sterling and guarding Kim, and you saw Kim have to pull it back and not shoot, and it's going to be River cleaning up the board and just tapping it back in. I mean, if the Voodoo managed to close out tonight, you'd have to say River might be the series MVP. Wouldn't you agree?
He'd definitely be in contention for it.
Definitely with all these second chance points he's been offering, as we saw Kiara finally stretching it. Not a three-pointer, but definitely farther than the dunk she's been putting up. And Sterling, no good there. Santa Ana a chance to answer. Put up a lead. It's going to be Kiara from beyond the arc. Oh, no good. But she does get the steal on the other end. Another opportunity, 2-on-1. Tyrese will do it himself, and the Spectrums have a lead. But, Donovan, we've seen how little leads matter tonight.
It's true.
Vilka will put up 1 to answer back. 9 points this game. Kim stripping the ball from Aditya. 1-on-1. Kim has the speed over the Otter. The Otter will get his 4th foul to at least force him to head to the line for 2. No good on the first. The Voodoo have just been struggling from the charity stripe tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I mean, that's going to be something that they're going to look at, take away from this game if they lose, that they missed so many opportunities from that free throw line. If they win, no one cares.
Right.
River. High arcing shot, no good. Kiara Hughes will come up with the ball. Jinsung in transition will pull up and converts it. He has put up 15 here. Lowenthal may have caught fire there with those threes, but Jinsung has been steadily adding to this total throughout the game. To Sterling, the alley-oop. No good. The Voodoo, they can't afford to be giving up these opportunities. And there's a 3, Jinsung hitting the three-pointer. And yes, the Voodoo, that might be the first three-pointer for the Spectrums tonight. And it can't come at a more pivotal moment. This might be the time the Spectrums need to consider, the Voodoo, need to consider calling timeout. They're down by 6 here. 1 minute, 32 seconds to go. Jinsung, he hit the 3. He hits the dunk. And we have an 8-point game with 90 seconds to go. Oh, that might have been the dagger for this game. River will at least put up one there, down by 6. They need a stop here. But no, Jinsung, he's left too open. He dunks one himself, and that's his 22nd point. He has come alive in this final 2 minutes of this game.
Well, if you're going to pick a time.
Yeah, down 3-1, but oh, that might be a costly mistake. He didn't foul hard enough to stop the shots, and River will head to the line for an and 1. Still, a 2-possession game, 5 points. The Spectrums can burn almost 40 seconds of this clock easily, and that leaves the Voodoo very little time. They're going to double team. They're going to go for the steal. They need to get a turnover. And Adia giving it to Kiara. Again, they're going to burn down the clock as much as possible. They can get a shot here. It might be game, but it's not. Vilka, 40 seconds. What are you going to do? River, that's how you're going to do it. You're going to get it to the basket. The Deer just laying it up and in. 3-point game. It looked like it was over, but here they're back in it. Jitsug, they're going to go back to the Bear. And that might be the game. A 2-possession game here with 33 seconds left to go. The Voodoo have to call timeout.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a tough one for the Voodoo. The only thing I will say is they have been hitting the 3-pointer this game.
They have, but they haven't been hitting their free throws, and that is looking like it may cost them a lot.
The game would be tied right now if they'd been a little bit more accurate. In this situation, down by 5, you almost have to hit a 3 or a 2 very, very early and hope that your opponent misses on on your next possession.
Yeah.
You're trying to hit that 3 and draw a foul as you do.
Yes, we're going to have a 4-point game. Actually, they're going to burn their second timeout. They don't like the setup they had. And Christopher, we saw an 8-point lead whittled down, but now it's back to a 5-point here. And now they had to burn their second timeout because they just did not get the shot up as quick as they needed to. I think they planned on getting a 4 or 5 second play going, and it just fell apart.
Well, and then there's that risky situation. Like, do you stop the play quickly to refine your footing, or do you let it play out? And with 28 seconds left on the clock, I think they made the right decision here.
Well, they need to hit one quickly. A 2's fine. They have a 3 opportunity. They make it. Okay, but they have to foul now. That's the problem. Adia. Yeah, there we go. It took him so long to foul him because of his speed. He just got up the court. Adia instantly fouled again. That's the bonus. He has a chance to put this out of reach. 2-possession game. No good on the second, but no timeouts for the Voodoo. They have to go fast. 4-point game. 3-pointer from Vilka. No good, but River. He has kept them alive with second chance buckets, but they have to foul on the inbound. Or steal it! River! To Lowenthal! He's tied it up! River coming out and intercepting the ball, and it lands in Lowenthal's wings, and he just puts it up and ties the game. They have pulled off the miracle and brought it back to a tie game here.
This is exactly what Biloxi needed to stay in this game. And it looks like all of those, those risky moves worked out for them. Hopefully they can hold on to that lead the tie, bring that to a lead in the next 7 seconds if they want any chance of winning this series for this game.
The Spectrums, they have 7 seconds to get the final shot off. They can still win this with a buzzer beater. If you're the Voodoo, you are what do you do in this situation? You cannot draw a foul and send them to the line to win this game. Even though I won my ice cream. I want my steak dinner more.
Yeah.
So, this game, oh wow, how do you come back? They were down 2 possessions. That inbound steal is, that has to be heartbreaking for the Spectrums.
Well, and I think that's the phrase of the game is how do you come back? And every single time we ask that, they come
They
back
figure out a way.
on both sides. So,
And Jin-Sung, he's been hot, and he goes for the final shot, and no good. We're heading to overtime here in the crowd. They are back in it. They are on their feet. They thought they were done. I feel bad for any fans that have left the stadium already after seeing their team down by 5 there.
yeah, I cannot believe it.
Oh, the Voodoo. It looked like they were out of it, down by 8 with 90 seconds left to go, and they did not give up. They are still in this game. We have 5 more minutes left to go. Vilka not able to get the bucket for the Spectrums. It's going to be Tyrese laying it off the glass. Oh, Spectrums. How do you recover after that?
And you can just see everyone is so tired. They put in
Yeah.
all of their effort trying to get that lead, and it just wiped away.
I mean, Kiara had a chance to dunk it there, and she just lays it up and in. She has to save all her energy at this point. These players, they are honestly not likely to get any rest in this extra 5 minutes of play. It's going to be Derek for 3. No good. And, River was there for the offensive board, but just not able to get it. Jin-Sung laying it up and in with the contact. Chance for an and 1. And Santa Ana, where was this offense a little while ago? Up by
Really?
7. But honestly, we just saw an 8-point lead vanish in less than 90 seconds. And that's exactly how the breaks to the basket. Kim putting up the first bucket for this Voodoo in this overtime.
A lot of people say that basketball is played in the last 5 minutes of the game. Well, that's certainly true for this game here tonight in Biloxi.
Yeah, and Jin-Sung, he was so instrumental in pulling the Spectrums ahead. To have it stripped away, I mean, if he had hit that buzzer beater, that might have been a career-defining moment for him. As Vilka hits the 3. He's been quiet tonight for the most part, especially from beyond the arc. But there we go, back within 2. Kim with the steal. Up to Lowenthal. Lowenthal fouled on the way up by Lee. He will go to the line for 2. Oh, please don't tell me a double overtime is in the books tonight. Good on the first. Good on the second. Tied game. Oh, the defense. Just as soon as you think the Spectrums have fallen apart, are pulling ahead and the Voodoo have fallen apart, they just answer back. They are unkillable. Bloodied and bruised, they do not fall. Spectrums pull ahead again by 2.
The Voodoo keep breathing life into their Voodoo dolls.
I don't know how they have just mental fortitude to hold in, and that definitely comes with the experience that they have, and somehow not willing to give it up here. And Aditya, he had some struggles to start this game, but 15 points tonight, that's not how I would have predicted after seeing him pulled in the first 2 minutes of the game.
Well, if you remember at the half, neither team was up to 50 points, and then once we hit the end of the fourth quarter, that had certainly changed.
I mean, they blew away each other in the third quarter. Someone turned on the offensive cheats, and there we go. Tyrese dunking it down with the contact will go to the line for and 1. pushing them back up by 5, but no lead is safe when facing the Voodoo, it seems. Not until the buzzer sounds. Going to their steady rock and river. Able to get the bucket. 24 points tonight for the Deer. Keep an eye on.
Pad out your stats.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, you're still winning the game. It's not even padding. Kiara, there she goes from beyond the arc. I'm not going to say that's the dagger. I'm not going to say that's the dagger because last time I said that, the Voodoo may have stabbed my Voodoo doll.
Is that Kiara's first 3-point all night?
I think so.
I think so. Adia, no good. 6-point game. The Voodoo have been hitting the threes occasionally, but it's been the turnovers that have kept them in this. So I'd like to see them continue to challenge them on defense. It's Kim, one-on-one, over to River. Battling for the ball, almost loses its shot clock, starting to go against him, having to rush his shot, and they're going to have to foul there. It's a 6-point game, and the shot clock has turned off. Jensung able to make the first, and I think that is the concession there. Is he makes both. That's an 8-point game. You are looking at a miracle minute. I just don't think it's possible at this point.
Biloxi can score 8 points in 22
seconds.
I mean, 3 with a foul, make the free throw, turnover, shoot the 3 with the foul, and yeah, that's it. Block. They're not even going to foul here at this point. There's no reason to risk an injury. And oh wow, what a way to end the game. The Voodoo, they looked dead and done, and they came back.
Wow.
Those free throws.
It was the free throws in the end that cost them.
They had made one more of those in the end. Oh.
As we dive into the stats, I mean, the starters picked it up for the Voodoo. The Voodoo, I don't think a single starter was lacking tonight by the end of the game. It was definitely River that pulled ahead with the points.
Quiet night for Sterling, though.
I mean, quiet in the sense of still almost a double-double. It was Lowenthal really kind of eating up some of his rebounds. He almost put up a triple-double tonight. And I won't say feel bad for the fans not having it finish here unless it goes to Game 7. But at this point for the Voodoo, they can't be playing with that mindset of, hey, we want to win it at home. You just want to win a ring. Tonight was the night. If it didn't work out tonight.
Well, and now, like, you know, it's one of those situations where the Spectrums now only have to win, you know, 2 more games.
Yeah, defend home, and then you're back in a 1-game series. 1 game at a time is how you come back from a deficit like this.
Absolutely. And, you know, you mentioned the charity stripe earlier. I said in an earlier game, the series, that's definitely where games are won and lost. And, you know, there's definitely a missed opportunity here for the Voodoo tonight.
Well, I'm already going to go ahead and say it. Seba is my player of the game. He put up a triple-double here tonight. Perfect from the field, 6 for 6. He was the key factor in giving the Spectrums the win here tonight. He needs to show up in the next game as well. Yes, some other players may have put up more points, but he had the impact all over this game.
Yeah, he really definitely showed up to the party tonight.
I mean, even the rookie, Aquino, 18 points coming off the bench, even though he kind of started the game pretty much after the 2nd minute.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he played as much as any of the starters did this game, especially, you know, subbing in for that shooting guard position in the second half of the game.
But
And
other,
I think that I was a little too hasty in my switching sides. I almost feel bad that I didn't say stick with Santa Ana in seven, because I'm really feeling that strongly again after tonight.
I mean, Donovan, I think you have to agree. This is the aside from the first 2 minutes of this game, this was the strongest we've seen the Spectrums.
It was, especially their defense.
Yeah, that was a huge difference tonight. I mean, the fact that they got so many blocks in this game, and obviously, offense came out in the second half. It was a night and day difference between the two halves in terms of defense and offense. I mean, 39 points in the fourth quarter for the Spectrums. They barely put that many up in 2 quarters. So, and I mean, that final quarter, the final overtime, 7-9 from the field, that is just an insane way to finish the game. But
Yeah.
we will be
But
going
they
into the
finished it,
season.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is done.
Game six, how the Spectrums have to be riding high. I mean, obviously they'll have the travel days between before they head back home, but you have to feel the momentum has swung back in their favor.
Absolutely. Going into this home court advantage situation, especially after proving that they can beat the Voodoo in an away game situation, and they finally started to show that maybe they can get into the Voodoo's head a little bit, the same way the Voodoo seems to, or have seemed to, get into their heads. It's a little bit of a mind game, I think, especially as we go into game six. Which team is gonna just end up lasting longer?
Yeah, I mean, there is the benefit of there being the not having to play another game so soon. They do have the travel days between, so an opportunity to rest. And I mean, I don't want to say I'm leaning towards the Spectrums now, but looking at the way this is going, you have to feel like this is at least going seven.
Certainly a possibility. I think that the Voodoo may be going to Santa Ana with a lot to prove and a lot of aggression. It may work for them.
Well, they can't
They've
be
proven they
cocky
can win
anymore.
there. No, but they've proven they can win in Santa Ana. They've already
Mm-hmm.
done it.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about game four, they came back from a pretty hefty deficit and put up like a 40-point quarter to do so. So
Yeah,
they can be explosive. It's just if Santa Ana can answer their explosiveness, Santa Ana can very easily come out on top game six. And it seems like all the starters are starting to pick it up for both teams now, in fact.
yeah.
Um, I am definitely going to need a nice way to relax after this game. I'm
Yeah.
hyped. I'm going to go crash in the hotel suite. But any other thoughts before we end this game?
Santa Ana, I never doubted you for a minute.
Lies. Clip it. Well, I've been Ryan Eastman. Thank you once again, Donovan Ritter and Christopher Whalen, for joining me for this amazing Game 5. I can only hope Game 6 is just as exciting.
Yeah, it's always fun to be in the booth with you. This was once again just amazing, amazing game. What a series. I cannot wait until game six.
Absolutely.
And we'll have a wonderful night, everyone. We will see you next time.